Hello, I'm Scott Bogie here with your fighter, Fredaws Nayimi, ahead of his upcoming fight against Ramón Cardozo. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me on your show. Uh, Doing great, just grateful to be alive, grateful to do what I love every day.
And how are you feeling ahead of this fight?
I feel every fight is the same, just different experience throughout the fight camp. I feel great, sharp, um, working hard in the gym, 2 weeks left. So just the first fight is the scale,
Yeah,
and then after that is the fun part. So I'm just focusing one day at a time.
and you get to go back to Toronto where you kind of grew up. How is that feeling of knowing you're going back to that home?
Toronto is home. It's like my backyard. I grew up here since I was 13 years old, went to school, graduated, have a lot of friends, family, people that support me. It always feels a little bit good fighting on home turf. It just feels normal, like another day. And I'm just grateful for my team, for my coaches down here, uh, training at Hitters Fight Club. So my coach, Evan Boris, I've been working tons with him. I just came back from one of the legendary gyms in Toronto. It's called Grant MMA and Boxing, training with RJ. And one of my other mentors, Isaac Greeley from Pittsburgh. We've been at it, just grinding, coming up with a good game plan.
Exactly. And what do you see your main strength in this fight as being?
To be honest, I don't like to call shots or anything like that, although that helps with your confidence and things like that. But I'm just gonna get in there and control every 15 seconds of the fight and do what I do the best. But overall, I'm very confident going into this fight. Wherever it takes on the ground, standing, wrestling, grappling. I've invested a lot of years developing on my craft to become a complete martial artist, not just a striker. And I feel like capable of showing that leading up to this fight. And the funny thing it is, my two finishes in my career have been rear naked choke. So that should speak a little bit by for itself.
Exactly. And with that last one, it was in your last fight back in August. Speak to me, how did you feel like that fight went for you?
The fight was awesome. I originally went down there in June to help my brother and teammate Amir Albazi. He was in Phoenix, Arizona, and excuse me, I was just training with him, helping him out. And then his fight got canceled because of his medical clearance. Since I was in Arizona, I was already in camp in shape, so I took a last minute notice, like in 2 weeks, and then I fought a weight class above because it was tougher to cut the weight, and then it was last minute. But I felt good. I went in there, trained. I did my camp there at the MMA lab with my brother Vinny Diaz and John Crouch and the team, the elite team. And it was good, man. I went in there, put on a show, put on a performance. I took my time, and then I found the finish.
And that was up at featherweight. How did you feel the weight difference was? Do you feel like that might be an option in the future, or are you happy at bantamweight?
Bantamweight, I'm definitely going to be continuing progressing in the weight class. But it was nice to fight a weight class above to not cut a little bit of
Yeah.
weight and have a little bit more juice in there to push. So it felt great. Maybe like once when I'm in the UFC and I've had many fights, and maybe when I'm like 34, 35, I'll make the jump up because as you get older, it's tougher to not just cut the weight, your body adapts, you mature, and so maybe that's for the future. But right now, I'm just eyeing in to become the one of the best 35ers coming out of Canada.
Exactly. And was there anything in that last fight that kind of surprised you?
Uh, to be honest, now that I look back at it, not really. I expected him to be very aggressive in the first round. Fighting in the local region scenes, it's great. But one of the problems is these cages, man. They buy some Walmart cages or some, like knocked off cages. So the ring was very small. Like once you touch gloves, it was just like literally two steps, and then you literally in the center. So I focused a lot on moving around and finding the shots, and it was good. First round was a little adversity. I overcame that, and then I just found them and I picked them apart, and made it surgical.
And then before that, you were able to showcase your skills on the LFA cage, one of the promotions that are a major feeder into the UFC. How was it being able to have that experience?
Fighting for LFA was definitely a great experience. It was like the way they handle themselves, the way they promote, the way they take care of fighters was awesome. I fought at the Niagara Falls, USA, in the Seneca Casino, and then it was a great um, opportunity to showcase my skills, not just in Canada but in States. It was a tough fight. It was against another kid uh, that was 4-0
Yeah,
with four finishes. I was going in as a 4-0 as well with a finish or whatever. And it was a tough fight. I had to really dig deep in there and came out victorious. And I'm grateful for the opportunity. If another chance comes in to fight for LFA, I wouldn't mind taking it because I know they're very connected to the UFC, and I feel like it's a very high level platform to fight for. But with me, I just don't like to stick with one promotion. Uh, Wherever the opportunity knocks on the door, I'll fight. Dubai, maybe London, England. I don't know, anywhere else. I would love to travel and bring more awareness and exposure to my brand.
exactly. And also with the last couple of months, we have seen the UFC come to Canada a lot more with pay-per-views as well as with fight nights. How has that been for just the overall MMA scene in the country?
I think anytime UFC comes to Toronto, it's great, not just for the city, but for the sport, and it gives the younger generation an opportunity to experience to see what it's like. But also sometimes you get last minute pullouts, people and opponents. So I'm gonna be eyeing definitely for that event. I'll be staying ready on weight and in shape. So just in case if last minute opportunity knocks on the door, I'll be ready to receive the call. And in this game, you have to be lucky, and luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So I'm definitely focused on this fight first, February 20th. Once we're done with that, then we're gonna try to look forward for an opportunity if it presents.
And there's a lot more eyes on the kind of Canadian scene. You also have Unified, where you're on. You've got BFL, who's got a show coming up as well. Do you feel like they are now getting a lot more eyes on them than they probably were 2 to 3 years ago?
Yeah, when I started MMA in 2019, there were very few local promotions to fight for, and it was very hard to get a fight in Canada. But after like COVID times or before COVID times, a lot of promotion started to develop in
Yeah,
Canada. As BFL, it's in the West Coast. Unified came in, and that was a huge opportunity for many fighters to showcase their skills and have a platform to elevate and move up. And obviously in Montreal, they have Samurai MMA.
yeah.
That's there too. So I'm happy the sport is growing. There's more opportunity, and there's more eyes for us fighters to make a name for ourselves and to get into bigger leagues.
And the BFL champ, featherweight champ, was on the contender series, Bradley De Silva. He was able to get the victory, wasn't able to get the contract, but how did you kind of rate his performance in that fight? And how big was it to be able to see that progression from that regional scene up over to the big stage?
Repeat his name again. I know who you're talking about.
Bradley De Silva. He
Oh
faced George
yes, I've
Mangos.
watched him. Believe I'm not quite mistaken. I was there watching Dana White Contender Series last year after my fight. I went there to for the experience. One of my
Yeah,
friends from the MMA lab. His name is Alec. He fought And I just went out there to experience what it's like, see the walkout. When you fight in there and you walk out, there's no music, right? A lot of
Yeah.
fighters talk about that. It's very quiet. The production, the weigh-ins, and things like that. So I just went to soak in the moment because when I'm gonna get there, I just wanted to feel uh, like another day. I've been there, done that. But I've seen us fight. It was a great opportunity. Anytime you fight for contender series, the biggest thing that it provides is it brings more eyes and attention on your name. So you're already on the radar, win or lose. You could be getting a call back. You could be getting a last minute placement. So it's a great opportunity to get in there to showcase your skills, but also uh, put yourself on the radar. He fought a great fight. I believe Silva will be back in there. Just a little bit of changes needs to be made, but I have a feeling maybe this year they'll probably call him back, knowing his um, skills and everything he brings to the table. And being from Canada, we don't have a lot of fighters that are feeding to the UFC. So I'm happy to showcase my skills and put on the UFC on notice that, hey, like we have the talent in Canada. You just got to give us the opportunity and a shot.
And your shot is just around the corner. You get the finish here. That's you 7-0 in your professional career. What are you looking for this year? Like how many fights? What's the goals?
Well, after the February 20th fight, when I walk out of the cage and I become victorious, I'm going to be definitely calling my shot for contender series. I'm going to be looking forward to see what it's going to take to get on the Dana White contender series. Maybe one more fight because they do the intake around end of April,
Yeah.
maybe around there. So we'll see. Ramadan's coming around the corner in March. So I'll be taking a little break from there, but then I'll still be training. So I'll be looking to jump in maybe April, May before the Dana White Contender Series, or look for opportunity to road to UFC in China. So I'm looking for two opportunities, but I'm going to be grinding every day, training, stacking up in the wins, and just a matter of time until they give me a call.
And how do you find like the road to the UFC? Because obviously they've just had their finals on the UFC card. Do you feel like that just shows you how serious they are about that competition? That it's not only just the finals, it's the final year contract. They're putting it onto a pay-per-view card.
Yeah, that was very interesting. When I watched that card, didn't notice until I watched the fight that was Road to UFC. That's a very great opportunity to feel what it's like when you do make it to fight in the
Yeah.
arena. So much people, the pressure, and the biggest thing I could say is fighting in those types of opportunities. It helps you to cope with noise. Right, the higher you get, the more noise, the crowd, the people, the cameras, the lights. So it was very interesting, and I would love that opportunity. I feel like my best version of myself always comes out when I put myself in these tough moments, big moments, and big lights. So I'm looking forward to hopefully submit my name and get a call. And I think that will be a great opportunity to fight all the way across the globe in China and represent myself, my country, my team, and to get more eyes on me.
And what did you make of Aaron Tao? Like, on the scales, he knew he wasn't going to make weight, and he still tried to cheat the system and do the L. But did the DC? What did you kind of make of that situation?
Yeah, that was a little bit of he overdid it. He's supposed to do it very lightly. He kind of overdid it, and
Yeah.
then they caught him and things like that. I think I would have been more transparent. What if I didn't make the weight? I think you got to talk to the UFC because the beauty about this game, as you know, is no matter what you say, and when you step in the cage, the truth will prevail under the bright lights. Whether you were ready, whether you trained hard, whether your gas tank was ready, you had enough gas, and everything prevails. Then that's the beauty of this game. There's no hiding behind it. So I think you know um, there's a beautiful saying. It says, "We're all sinners in life." How can we
Yeah.
judge another sinner and compare his sins to us? So you know it's a tough situation, Sticky, to be in his shoes, but it's at the same time that was a very It's like a golden ticket, that got burned from his hands, and he came from a really good camp. I believe he was training at New Zealand with the Izzy's team
Yeah,
or Volkanovski's team. So he had a great team, but a lot of people see what happens outside of the cage. When people pay money, they come see the fights. They just see a fight, right? They see a fight, and that's it. But what happens outside the cage is so much more to it. Some walking injured, some. Or having dealing with some demons, mental health, or some are just having a hard time or hard camp, like Rufi, with Fiziev. Like everybody saw that beautiful knockout,
yeah.
but after the interview, he said, "Man, like I woke up, I had some spasm in my back, I could barely move, couldn't warm up." So it's like there's so much happens behind the scenes that people don't understand what it takes to get into the cage. But at the end of the day, nobody cares. Everybody
Mm.
cares about two things: whether you win or lose. It's very black and white. So it is what it is. It's a good lesson for us to learn too. To understand that, like when you get to that moment, you got to be ready. You got to be prepared, and you got to be honest. If you can't make the weight, then you just got to be straightforward to UFC.
It does sound like they are going to be redoing that final later at a later date, and the contract will still be on the line for that. Now, a lot of people are saying that is a bit unfair to Tow's opponent. He made the weight cut. He made the weight. If Tow can't make the weight, then he should lose that opportunity, and the contract should go to the other guy. What's your kind of thought? Do you feel like it's fair to rearrange it and just give him that second opportunity, or do you feel like the contract should just go to the other guy now?
I believe uh, that we fighters should always be focused on things that are controllable on our end. The fact that he made weight, the fact
Yeah,
that he showed up, that's in his control. What his opponent does, whether he makes weight or he doesn't, that's out of his control. But at the same time, as a fighter that dealt with a lot of adversities myself, I'm happy that he got his second chance. We make mistakes. I believe in second chances as well. There's many fighters that have had the same issue in UFC and they got their chance back.
yeah.
So you put your blood, sweat, and tears in the gym, so it's hard. But I understand where he's coming from, and I would maybe negotiate a little bit to get a little pay raise or talk to the UFC. Or I'm sure they're gonna. UFC is very aware of that. That he showed up on weight and he was professional, and I'm sure if he wins, he'll get the contract. If he doesn't, they're gonna appreciate his. You know, uh,
Professionalism.
yeah, professionalism, just showing up, and I'm sure he could get the call. But it's a great opportunity that at least he has a little bit of time to maybe come up to his best version of himself. And something that my coach always tells me that kind of educated me and just kind of made me wise. He said I used to get excited a lot before fights. My coach Evan was like, and he would just be chill, very very stoic. And then one day I was just like, this is my second fight. I'm like, dude, like what's going on? Like we're about to fight. Like what's going on? And then he's like, like I don't get excited. He's like, the fight is not official until both fighters make weight. He's like, once
Yeah.
both fighters make weight, then we have a fight. It's like up until then, it's like anything could happen. So that was just a good lesson for me to learn too, to stay grounded. And then once my opponent makes weight, that's when the Bobby Murder comes out, and I get excited and try to stay focused because okay, like now we have a fight, right?
And how do you kind of rate your division in the UFC just now? Obviously, you've got that new champ Peter Yan, who will be looking to claw back some rematches in the Sean O'Malley, who just got back in the win column. You've got Usman Nurmagomedov, who no, sorry, not Usman, Umar Nurmagomedov, who is coming up through the ranks as well. Just got another win a few weekends ago. How do you rate your division?
It's a stacked division. I think one of the hardest divisions to get into the UFC is probably be like 35, 45, 55, because an average human is around like those weights. Like it's be like the higher you go, I don't want to take any shine or hardship, but it's lesser competition, And so
Yeah,
the heavier you are, the trajectory to get to top 10, top 5, top 15 is faster because there's less bodies at that weight. But an average human usually is like around 160 or whatever, lower or higher. So it's a tough division, and I've trained with a lot of guys. I don't know, in top 15. Guys like Mario Batista, Kyler Phillips, Marcus McGee, and I'm very grateful that I was able to share the room with them at the MMA Lab. And just want to shout out John Crouch, the head coach at the MMA Lab, for giving me opportunity to be in the room, and also my brother and friend Vinny Diaz. He was the one that initially invited me to train there, and it was good. So it's a stacked division, and I cannot wait, to go in there to test out the deep waters and see how far I could swim, and I have two friends and that I've just known them, and the Bashar brothers, they're Afghans, that I'm very inspired and look look at them as an example because they're paving the way for us younger generation Afghans, and how ferocious they are both with their styles and how much entertainment and um, banger fights they put in like a few days ago. So the division is stacked, but I'm excited to test out my skills and see how high I could climb.
And then you've also got as well on your card, Bial as well, who I think he's from Afghanistan. Am I correct?
Yeah,
Yeah. So how is it being able to share the cage with him?
yeah, it's an honor. It's an honor to have another fellow countryman like Bilal himself, which is a prospect. I believe he's 6-0 as
Yeah.
well. And just I've always wanted to have like a countryman or a brother or teammate to represent uh, not just our country but our people and our whys of why are we doing this. And I'm very grateful to uh, be on the same card as them, and to put on a show for our people, and then to bring on a big crowd of the Afghan community which we have in Toronto, and it's an honor. Life is all about moments and memories. That's the only thing we own. After we die, we can't take nothing away from us but these moments and memories. So it's an honor, and I'm thankful for the opportunity. And I'm excited. After my fight, I'll be definitely going back there to watch his fight right after and support.
And what did you make of the UFC this weekend? Because obviously there was some good points with Javid getting the win, with Mario getting the win. However, there was some not so good parts with obviously Albazi not getting the victory. What did you kind of make of the fights as a whole?
I think that whole card should have been a pay-per-view card. It was just a banger fight, the Apex, but the UFC does what they want to do, and it was a really good fight. I watched a lot of fights. I watched the first, second, second fight on the prelims, the Gafurov and the
Yeah.
Polish dude, and I just watched a lot of fights. Studied. I don't watch it for entertainment. I watch it to maybe support a friend, but study as well. It was really good card, and. It's part of this game. Every time we go into the cage, my coach Isaac tells me it's going to be either a wedding or a funeral, right? And when you go out there, you're going to do what you do. But I'm very sure that my brother Amir is going to bounce back. It's a small
Yeah.
setback for a bigger comeback, and he went against a veteran that had like a lot of fights. He's been in the UFC and other organization, and he's been having being around him and training with him for the past few months. I've learned a lot, and not just on how to be a high level athlete, but how to be a man. Walk with my faith and just his work ethic, man. Like when I was around him, I would work and I could see like there's a reason why this guy's in top five, because like that work ethic is just relentless, and I learned a lot from him. And you know his career, he's been dealing with a lot of adversities, a lot of surgeries and injuries, but I'm sure he's going to bounce back. It's just a matter of time. He's going to regroup, and he's going to come back stronger. It's just it's part of the game. There's no losing. It's just lessons, and you're going to learn what you learn, and you're going to come back stronger.
And we can't wait to see you get that victory, get that stoppage, and move to 7-0. Is there anything you'd like to add or anyone you want to shout out?
I just want to thank you for having me, and always give me a platform to promote myself, my brand, and bring more awareness. And I just want to thank a few of my sponsors. One of my main sponsors that helped me out a lot in this camp. It was a company called Retriever. It's owned by my friend, mentor, brother, big brother is Jason K. Without him, I wouldn't have been able to pull myself out for this camp with all the expenses and help. and I want to give him a shout out. And the second shout out is to Burcon Rentals. Dennis, he's been a huge supporter. They're a huge company here in Toronto, in Ontario, in Canada. They basically sell like rented equipment stuff, construction stuff. So I'm very grateful for his support. And I want to give a big shout out to the Halifax Women's Football Club. They're from London, like UK, and they've been a huge supporter for this camp as well. And they give me a jersey. It has my name, Murda, and it has like a number 6 for the Toronto's area code. So I want to just give shout out to them and to my last sponsor that they've been helping me out endlessly. It's a hospice company in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Rich, he's the owner of the company, and then they've been a huge supporter and sponsor of throughout my career, helping me out. And last but not least, I'm sure you've probably seen a ton of content of him. My favorite restaurant and supporter, Sumac, the Iraqi barbecue and charcoal and grill. They've been with me since like day one. I want to give a shout out to Ibrahim, to Mustafa, and to Hamza, and to all the brothers. They've been sticking with me in my corner, helping me out in Dubai as well. So those are the few shout outs. And, there's a quote that says, it takes villages to raise a kid. And I'm grateful that I have all the support and all these villages to help me to chase my dreams.
Well, we can't wait to see you get that victory and secure your place in the UFC very shortly. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.